Video we are going to discuss about the generation of nerve impulse. In previous videos we just discussed how this synapse has been formed, so how the nerve impulse has been converted into chemicals and it is transferring from the presynaptic neuron to the postsynaptic neuron. All this we have discussed. Now how that nerve impulse has been generated, how it is formed, that's what we are going to discuss in this video. So first of all, so you know that when a nerve is not receiving any stimuli, then it will be in the form of a resting position. In a resting nerve fiber, the outward portion of the nerve, so consider this as the nerve, the outward, so this is the outer portion, the outer portion of the nerve will be positively charged, and inside the nerve fiber, so this is the inside portion of the nerve fiber, it will be negatively charged. Okay, so that's what they have told here. So the electropositive side will be the outer side, so this is the electropositive side, and the inner side, so the electronegative part will be the inner side, so this is the inner side of the nerve fiber where all this axon, these kind of parts will be situated. So the inner side of the nerve fiber will be negatively charged, so the electropositive outside and electronegative inside. So now at the same time, the electropositive side, so where it is present on the outer side, the Na plus ions will be there. So the outer side of a nerve fiber where it is electropositive, you can see the presence of Na plus ions. Now the electronegative side, so where it is present, where is the negative charge is present inside the nerve fiber, you can see the presence of potassium ions. Now only with this help of the sodium potassium gateway, this nerve impulse has been generated. Understood? Now so what is the outer structure of a nerve fiber? So the outside the nerve, so it is called as extracellular fluid. So that means, so just listen here, this is a nerve fiber, so this is the outer region, so this is the outer region of a nerve fiber. Here it will be completely filled with extracellular fluid, so it will be completely filled with extracellular fluid where the outer region of the nerve fiber. Now inside the nerve fiber, what will be there, so how inside the cell the fluid medium cytoplasm will be there, likewise inside the nerve fiber the nerve plasm will be there. So what is that, the nerve plasm will be there inside the nerve. Understood? So this is the two important regions. Now so now I will be asking you a question. So in the nerve plasm, what kind of charge will be present? So the answer will be electronegative charges, that is negative charges will be present. And what kind of ions will be present? Potassium ions will be present. So in the extracellular fluid of the nerve fiber, what kind of charges will be present? So the positive charge will be present, and what kind of ions will be present? Sodium ions will be present. Understood? So this is the case of resting nerve fiber. So now, so the nerve is in the resting position, so it is polarized. We have already discussed about this term in ECG. What is meant by polarized? That means the medium, the outer medium will be positive in nature and the inner medium will be negative in nature. That is called as polarized molecule. And the next one is the resting potential. That means when the nerve is in the resting position, how much voltage it is producing? It is producing minus 70 millivolt. So it is producing like minus 70 millivolt. Now what is happening here, the outermost position, that is the position where the extracellular fluid is there you can see the presence of Na plus channel, that is the sodium ion channel. Now this, while this nerve is in the resting position, the sodium ion channel will be in the closed form. The sodium ion channel will be in closed form. Understood? So this is the case when the nerve fiber is not stimulated by any kind of nerve impulse, that is it is in the resting position. Understood? Now what will happen when the resting nerve fiber is receiving a stimuli? So now when it is just receiving a stimuli, the charges will be replaced, the charges will get modified, so that is the depolarization of the membrane will taking place. Now for example, consider just assign a numbers to each and everything. So 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5. Now just see this, observe this second position, what is happening to the second position on receiving the nerve stimuli. So now this charges in the second position has been changed. The negative charge, the electronegative charge is on the outer side and the electropositive charge is in the inner side. Now at the same time, now what will happen due to this phenomenon, the sodium ion channel will open, and due to that what is happening, the sodium ions are moving to the nerve plasm, and now what will happen to the potassium ion? This potassium ion will move on to the outer side, that is to the extracellular fluid. Now where will be the potassium ions. So here at the extracellular fluid, the potassium ions will be there. So now this kind of phenomenon can be observed only at second region, only at the second region. But other than the second region, the charges are going to be same, okay, because the resting nerve fiber where it is receiving the stimulus is receiving the stimulus only at the second position. So that's why the charges has been modified here. So this kind of a thing is called as the depolarization of membrane. So now in before we have discussed about polarization. So polarization, so this polarization of membrane is seen only in resting neuron, and then depolarization is seen when the resting neuron receives the stimulus. Understood? So this is depolarization is seen when the resting neuron is receiving the stimulus. Okay, understood? So this is the story of case 2. So in case 2, what is it happening? So depolarization of membrane is taking place here when this resting neuron is receiving a stimulus. So for example, if it is getting a stimulus at the second position, then what will happen at that second position? The positive charge will get changed and enter into the nerve plasm, and the negative charge will move on to the outer surface of the nerve fiber, that is into the extracellular fluid. Now the charges has been changed in the second position, so because of receiving the stimulus. Now what will happen? The Na plus ion, so this Na plus channel will get opened and it will just move on to the nerve plasm, and the potassium ions will be moving on to the extracellular fluid which is present in the outer side. So now this is called as the depolarization of membrane. So now here what will happen to the action potential? Here the action potential will be increased because of depolarization phenomenon. Here the resting position of nerve fiber has minus 70 microvolt. This minus 70 microvolt will get increased to minus 55 microvolt. So this while the charges are in the negative form, so when it is just so from 70 to minus 55, it is increasing. It is considered as increasing. Now in this video we are going to discuss about the conduction process. What is meant by conduction? So in the second region, so in depolarization, so we have discussed that at the second region of the nerve fiber, the nerve impulse has been received, and therefore what happened? So because of this nerve impulse, the charges has been changed. The electropositive, the inner layer of the nerve fiber, that is the nerve plasm, became electropositive, and the outer layer becomes the electronegative. So that what happened to the sodium ions? So the sodium ions gateway opened it, and it just transmitted the sodium ions to the inner layer and the potassium ions to the outer layer. So this is what happened in the in depolarization process. Now this nerve stimulus, so this nerve impulse have to get transmitted, it have to get conducted to one region to the next region. So now from the second region, this nerve impulse have to get transmitted to third, and then it has to move to the fourth, and likewise it have to move to 5, 6, and then to the next neuron. So this is what they are saying about the conduction process of nerve impulse. Now how that is going to take place here? So now, so just look here. So I just draw a new fresh diagram here. So now in the depolarization neuron, so as we have discussed earlier, the outer portion is going to be electronegative at the second region, and the inner portion is going to be electropositive at the second region. So now what will happen? So in conduction process, this minus charge will get attracted towards the positive charge, like how the opposite poles opposites pole attract in the magnet. Likewise here, the positive charge also, this positive charge will get attracted towards the negative charge in the inner membrane of the nerve fiber, and at the outer membrane, this negative charge will get attracted towards the positive charge. Now what will happen? Due to this phenomenon, a stimulus which is nothing but the electric impulse starts to move from one region to next region. So due to this phenomenon, due to this attraction of charges, this electric impulse from the second region, we have marked this as second region, so the electric impulse starts to move from second region to the third region. So therefore what will happen? The third region's charge will get changed. So as a result, the Na plus ion, so now what will happen here? The second region will again get returned back. So the charges of the second region will get reverted. So it will again move on to the normal phase, resting phase. Now the third region alone, what will happen? Here the charges will be modified. So now here during this process, the Na plus ion gateway, the Na plus ions channel will get closed, and automatically in this process the stimulus, that is the electric impulse, starts to move from one region to the next region. That is, this stimulus is moving from the second region to the third region. Likewise, by the attraction of charges, the nerve impulse is conducted or transmitted from the third region to fourth region, then from fourth to fifth, then fifth to sixth, like that. Okay, understood? So this is what the conduction process of nerve impulse. In this process, ATP is synthesized. So important. So what you have to know, in this process, in this conduction process, what is getting produced? ATP. The energy is produced in the form of ATP. So important here. What is repolarization? So wait a minute. So now, so for just learning about this repolarization, so we can just first we can just revise about what is polarization, and then depolarization, and after that repolarization. Now polarization occurs when the nerve is in the resting potential. That means, as usual, the positive charge will be at the outer surface of the nerve and negative charge will be at the inner surface of the nerve. So this is polarization. Now depolarization means when an electric impulse has been received by the nerve fiber. Now what is happening here? The charges are getting changed. So the outer surface becomes electronegative and the inner surface becomes electropositive. Okay, so now what will happen to repolarization? Again, this depolarized state, so the second region which is depolarized will again revert back. So that is called as repolarization. Now what will happen? So see here, now this minus charge will just return to its original position. That is, this minus charge will return to positive charge, and the positive charge that is present inside the nerve fiber will return back to its negative charge. So positive will become negative and negative will become positive. So this is called as repolarization. Understood? Now what happened? The depolarized state again converted into repolarized state. So this is called as repolarization. Understood, buddies? So now during this repolarization phenomenon, the action potential recorded, that is the voltage recorded, is plus 45 to 50 microvolt. So what is happening here? During polarization, that is during this nerve fiber is in the resting position, they recorded like minus 70 microvolt during the nerve is in the resting position. During depolarization, that is when the resting nerve is just receiving the external stimuli. Now what happened? This from the minus 70 microvolt, it has been increased to minus 55 microvolt. Understood? Now again, so this from this minus 55 microvolt, it is going to get increased drastically during repolarization phenomenon. Now what will happen? So from the minus 55 microvolt, it is just increased to plus 45 to 50 microvolt. So understood? So this is what called repolarization phenomenon. So in this repolarization phenomenon, the action potential is just drastically increased to plus 45 to 50 microvolt. Now what will happen? Due to this drastic increase of action potential, now the Na plus ion, that is the sodium ion chamber, the sodium ion channel will get closed, and automatically the potassium ion chamber will get opened. So due to this potassium ion chamber has been opened, now what will happen? So the charge is going to get the stimuli is going to get passed on from one region to the next region. So now due to the opening of potassium ion, what is happening? The stimuli is moving to extracellular fluid from nerve plasm. This leads to the repolarization. So just listen here. So this stimuli have to move from one region to next region. For that, this potassium ion chamber should get opened. So after this opening of potassium ion chamber only, what will happen? Even the charges will start to attract, and this stimulus, this nerve impulse will be moving on from, that is, will be conducted from one region to the next region. So this is called conduction process or repolarization phenomenon. Understood? Thank you.